who might benefit from this. So, hi everyone, welcome to our manifestation convergence. Yay, I looked up convergence. What does that word mean? Well, we're just coming together with our energies like rivers coming together. So, I'm glad you're here. Glad to be able to play with you with these wonderful concepts to start the new year. Although in the Southern Hemisphere, I know you already had a day. So, you're like this is old news 2025. So, but I'm glad to get to spend time with you all. So in the next couple of hours, I'm going to offer to you really the best of what I know about how we manifest, play around with this. I love having a group of us together because it means that we can put our energies together. And that to me is, I'm still clicking people in. So great, like to co-create, to enfold ourselves and each other in these great creative energies that we have. And to start with some notion that, well, I actually sat here. I always forget till the last second. I should actually have some slides to show you. So I do. Yay. So we'll get into the business of this in a moment. But in general, Danny, hi Danny. It's good to see you sideways. That I would say overall, it's impossible not to manifest. So that's kind of the good news. And I don't know if there's bad news here, but to start to see yourselves as, wow, you're creating all the time. And to kind of lean back into that, like there's no way not to. I love this line. I wrote it years ago in some book of mine. You, even if all you do is sit on the couch, we could call you a still life, eating an apple. Like, I mean, it's an impossible. You came onto this planet, you for who knows why or how that happened, right? How did you actually find your way into a body? But you did, and so here you are. And that means no matter what you're doing something. You're putting yourself out into the world. And so then, I think overall the question today that I'll support you with is how to do that as consciously as you can, because so much of what we're manifesting is unconscious. So much of what we're putting out into the world, a reflection of ourselves, is not maybe what we even had thought we were going to do, but it turned out that's what we did. You had that kind of experience, like, oh, I thought I was going to do something else, and it turns out, I mean, even words these days, and suddenly but I really thought the word was going to be that, and then it comes out of my mouth. It's completely different from what I was expecting. It's kind of a surprise, kind of an ongoing, interesting way to live. Like, oh, that's what I said. That's what I did. So that's what we'll play with. And if you want to put things in the chat, I'll do what I can to keep an eye on that. But if I didn't ever get it, I didn't hear what you were trying to tell me or tell us, please just wave at me because I'll see that. I don't, as you can tell, we're all up here. Now I think you can pin me and so that you don't have to look at everybody, but I like to look at you all. It's weird to just look at myself. And so I don't, it's like, even though I think that might be useful, Cass said, why don't you do a webinar? It's like, what? And stare at myself for 2 hours. That sounds like, I mean, even my own little box, I don't know, probably many of you have realized turning off self view means you don't lose some of your attention because there's some weirdness about looking at ourselves. Anyway, so I love to have you all here and on screen. And if that means if I don't see you on the chat, you can get my attention just by waving. Yeah, so let's dive in. Hi, everybody. I'm watching my own screen change around. Isn't that weird? Oh, there's Jen. Hi, Jen. As people kind of scramble around our little pixels. So I'm going to share my screen and do a little bit of the keynoting that I just put together. So you'll be, I know, very impressed with that I can do that. Yeah. Yay. Okay. So here we are. What is manifestation? But well, Hannah Sawitsky I was teaching something and she said, okay, well, could you start with defining your terms? So with that, thank you, Hannah. Like, I'm thinking of Hannah defining my term. And I think well, we know what we're coming for, right? That basically it's I'm embodying something. So I haven't thought, but now you can see it in my life. It's not just an idea anymore. It's actually coming into being. And that's what we're talking about. 2025. Yay. What do we want to bring into being? What do we want to birth with this time that we have, this precious time, this precious life that we have? What do we want to take from inside of us and
Yeah.
put out there?
Sound good? Mhm.
So I said that there's no way not to manifest. We see you. Wait, should we do that? We see you. Sometimes it's especially as I talk about this unconscious manifesting, it's like, oh, I know you do. Like, oh, all the things, oh, the ways I'd love for you to see me, and then all the ways that there you see me and I don't see me. The best, here's an idea, even the best mirror, we still can't see 30% of us. Well, you all can see all of me, so it's a little daunting sometimes, but we see you. So there's no way to not put yourself out into the world in a way that's visible and knowable. So I guess that's also like a wonderful part of life. So here's this idea. Now, how do we know this? I don't know. I don't know what actually backs this up. I've looked it up on Google a couple times, like, yep, 95%. Well, who knows how anybody can measure that, but let's at least have some kind of appreciation for all of the processes that are going on right now that we've got nothing to do with. I'm not thinking about how to metabolize my lunch. Thankfully, imagine if let's see, I've got to be sure that my pancreas is excreting enough insulin, right? There's so much of our body that's just doing the thing, our blood marrow, or the chemicals that are going through our bloodstream, breath coming in and out. We don't want to have to track all of that. So yay, that I don't have to think about how to scratch my head. I mean, that there's my life is happening because there's all these processes that I don't have to be aware of. Conscious just means, am I aware of this? Is it in my awareness currently? Well, good thing that whether or not my muscles are contracted or expanded, I don't have to be tracking that at all. Now, I'm going to come back to this and lean into this unconscious idea because people get a little sensitive about this thing of unconsciousness. It's as if I'm manifesting unconsciously, like some part of me is sort of sinisterly, wickedly in the background trying to make life hard, and that is not what I mean. I do mean old patterns are part coming into play, belief systems, the things that we were raised in, the doctrines, all that stuff. That's in us. It's like some installed software that I wish for sure that I could update more easily than through some of these processes. But oh well, I'm operating from unconsciousness in such a big way. And so then, of course, a question is, how do we consciously manifest? Because of so much of what my life is this unconscious unfolding. How do I get in there? How do I interface with that part of me that's just operating from this software that I seem to have very little to do with? So that's what we're going to play around a little bit today. Um, let's see, where do I get to that? Well, I'm going to see what's on this next thing. Oh, yeah, a couple more things. So, as in terms of today, what we're going to do, I'm going to talk a little bit more and then about manifesting overall. And then hopefully you've got your journals out and your vision boards and your all the things that you'll take notes on so that this is really so that you're kind of ready to launch. You've got what you need around you. Um, Thought, word, deed, y'all. I'm thinking about it. I'm writing it down. I'm speaking it. I'm bringing it into the physical. So So I hope you can do that in this next hour and 50 minutes as much as possible so we can send you out into the world. So I was thinking about this. What do you most need to know? Well, first, if we're going to send you out on your rocket ship, let's make your container impeccable. Impeccable. Is that a great word? Impeccable. And so I just want to flash this slide and I will put this into the chat momentarily. Yay, Gay and Katie's 4 pillars of integrity. So, so what does that mean? Impeccable. Like it's like I'm in integrity, like I'm not leaking energy. And this is, of course, you can start to hear there's a whole lifetime of play and work to be done with this kind of thing. That, oh, am I doing all these 23 actions impeccably every day? Well, of course not. That's a lot. but I'm committed to them. And so I really believe that if I'm in integrity, that as I set my intentions, as I commit to life, I've got this way of directing my own self, my own being, that it's going to be so much easier to create what I'm really wanting to create because I'm living in this from integrity in general. So I'm going to stop the share so I can put that into the chat. I've got all these finder windows and there's the thing. There it is. Yay, Gay and Katie Hendricks. Several of folks on this call know all about their work and just want to send them blessings because what I'm teaching you today is pretty much what I've taken from them. Yeah. So 4 pillars. And I'm still, again, I know I can't see everybody. So going back to the slides. Now, here is a main point. This is not a Hendricksonian idea. This is from Michelle Smallwright. She is, Ethel Green is a teacher of mine that you'll hear me talk about. And Ethel's work is based on Michelle Smallwright's work, which you can find out more from her website, Paralandra Limited, I think, .com. She's written several books. I don't know what Michelle Smallwright is doing these days, but that's a really great question or principle, I mean, that to imagine your intentions matter, that that's what your job is, that nature's job is to supply everything else. Its job is to supply the right idea. It's the right person coming across your path, the information that you need, the energy that you need. So to imagine that you can lean in on nature, this is the idea of co-creation, that nature's with you, but your job is to supply the intention. So this might be a good time for you on your notes to wonder, what are my intentions for 2025? I've been jotting down a couple of my own. I have a whole intention book. I haven't entered them into my book. I was off journaling at my favorite coffee place the other day. So to start it to pause and even wonder right now about any intentions that you might have. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a moment, but before I ask you to tell us more about that, I want to do this, also from Michelle Smallwright. We're going to open a coning. So this is from her, and this is an energy field that I've grown to rely on, and several folks on the call use these as well. It's a way of interfacing in a specific way with nature. Also, again, from the Paralandra work and what I learned from Ethel. So you can do this or not do this. You can try it and see what you think, or you can be just like go silent while I'm doing this. But you might like it. To me, it's whatever I can do. I'm a pragmatist. Whatever helps, whatever helps. And this to me has really been very effective with the concept that nature is great at energy. That's what nature is all about. It can make a leaf and a blade of grass and like a million, zillion, cajillion great blades of grass. It knows what it's doing. And so I figure, well, if it can do that, it can probably help me. I can support it. So to pause, I'm going to just show you how you do this, I set the intention. I'd like to open a coning, and you can say that to yourself out loud. You're muted, so that's good. Um, so, right, we're starting with setting the intention. I'd like to open a coning, and then with every 10 seconds, we're going to connect with these four aspects. We've got devas, which are nature spirits. Every organized piece of nature has a deva. So the overlighting deva of healing. And then Pan is also the masculine energy of nature. So we've got two nature entities here. And then we've got two human entities, the family of the light. Those are masters that have been in bodies that are no longer in bodies. And then my higher self is me, right? I came into a body, so connecting to me and my biggest self. So I'm going to walk you through that. So I started with, I'd like to open a coning. I'd like to connect with the overlighting deva of healing. You could say that. I'd like to connect with Pan. I'd like to connect with the family of the light. I'd like to connect with my higher self. So what that does is it creates an energy field with around us together as a group, and then with I think then it adds extra support as we're doing what we're doing today. So thanks to Michelle, and thanks to Ethel Green. Okay, so now playing around with one version of manifesting. So I'm going to do two things today. We're going to talk a little bit more about what does this even mean, or how do you think about manifesting? And then we're going to spend the bulk, like, I don't even know, the second part. I'm not sure how this is going to divide out yet, on unconscious to conscious manifesting, because that's got some real heft to it. I mean, manifesting is fun, but if you want to really push yourself in 2025, let's shift the unconscious to the conscious manifestation. All right, so I'm gonna, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So, but first, I'm going to stop the share and see how everybody's doing, see if anybody has any thoughts, questions that I should be pausing to address. Mm-hmm. Yes, Jen Phillips with your little hand. That's such a cute
That Would do you feel like the word intention is it the same as a desire, or like are they synonyms, or do you think there's a difference?
You ask such good questions. Um,
Oh, thanks.
I'd say a desire might well up as, oh, this is what I want. An intention is actually stepping out into. It's saying, okay, so now I have the intention to do this. Let's see. Today, I had a sense of what would be an example. I want to feel better in my body. Oh, it's my intention. I'm going to head off and go box. This is what I'm going to do. So I think there's a little more action behind it, a little more energy behind this is, I'm, I'm stepping in. Now, and yeah, I see you. Tell me more.
Well, I'm serious. I just signed up for a boxing class for Friday, so it's just funny that you said that to me. That's really cool. Thank you. But I understand what you mean, and that's really helpful.
Yeah. I'd say there's a third level to that, which is commitment. Um, so as soon as I set this intention, I intend to go boxing, but then my energy came even more to be more focused and I'd say pulled, directed. I committed to getting into my car and driving over there, right? So the intention is still kind of out there saying, I don't know how this is going to happen, but oh, okay, now I'm going to go do this thing. I'm really committed. I'm really stepping in. Anything else before we go back into the deep dive of the slideshow? All right, I'll keep going then. So some of you have seen this slide many times, and now here it is again. Maria Nemeth, yay, I actually finally sent her a fan note because I thought I've been quoting her for 20 years. I should tell her. I didn't hear back from her yet, but who knows? So she wrote this book called Energy of Money, and she also wrote another one called Man of No, it's got the energies. I don't know. She talks a lot about energies, 6 energies, and you'll see them here. So I'll address those in a moment. So this was just a little tiny graphic in her Energy of Money book that I looked at and I thought, oh, really? So here's a way to think about this that, okay, there's nothing out here. Let's just imagine this is just pure space out here, up here. Think of this as the night sky. And so there's all that space, right? All that undifferentiated energy. Now, it looks like it's nothing. It turns out, well, that's what everything comes from, right? Where'd those planets and stars come from? Well, they came from the undifferentiated energy. Um, so that means it's rich, it's waiting, it's potential. So then what? So we've got all this potential, all this possibility. Well, then you're sitting there and they suddenly have an idea like, oh, how about if I go to Spain? There's an idea. Um, Now I have a little thumb up. Right? So there was nothing, and then there was an idea. So that's amazing, right? I mean, how does that even work? Where did that idea come from? Well, it came from you, right? So we're already stepping in. There was nothing, and then there's this idea. And then, like Jen and I were just talking about, from the idea come the intentions. It's my intention to go to Spain. Well, it isn't my intention. I don't want to put that into the world. Not it's my sister's intention to go to Portugal. It must be why it's on my mind. Like she's decided she had nothing that was there. She said, "How about Portugal?" And then she set her intention, right? So all of this is the metaphysical beyond the physical plane. This is all we're not in the physical plane yet. That's here. So how do you get stuff from here, the metaphysical, to here, the physical plane? And Maria Nemeth talks about trouble at the border. Well, that's a big deal to get from here to here. And it might seem like, well, that shouldn't be so hard. But she said, well, it is kind of hard because you're actually shifting the whole density. You're shifting, you could call it dimensions, but using the metaphor of the rocket ship, right? Launching like 90%. I don't know if that's true. Somebody on this call knows, but a huge amount of the fuel to get a rocket ship launched is just getting it off the launching pad, right? Is getting so a huge amount of going from here to here is just getting out of the metaphysical into the physical plane. And so she says, Marie Nemeth says, and this is what took me, I was so taken by her. She said, because it's the energy of money. I was reading about money. It's a book about money. She said, well, y'all, money is one way to do this, but it is not the only energy that gets you from what is out here to here. You need time, right? So I'm going to figure out how to write a book. Well, maybe let's see, what is that going to take? Let's see. Let's go back to the more specific Spain, Portugal, right? It took them time. It's going to take them time to get there. It's going to take them money, but also they need to have the energy, the physical vitality to make the arrangements, to get on the planes, to do all the things. There's creativity is a really important piece of manifesting. Like it's not just enough to have the money. I've got to have the ideas, have the wherewithal, have the mental space to dream into this. The support of others and connection relationship is part of shifting from here to here. And then am I going to like it? Am I going to enjoy myself? Because if I'm not going to do that thing. I just am not going to focus in on. I don't care. It's not, I should go to the gym. I should do the things like whatever you're imagining for 2025. Sure, you should. I know. But is it going to be fun? Are you going to enjoy it? Is it going to actually support you and enliven you? Well, if not, I would not imagine that you'll continue to do it. Has anybody heard? I just read this something like January 12th is called Quit Day. I heard that quit day because we sign up for the gym, but it only takes us 12 days to ever quit day. I was surprised. I thought it should have been at least that, January 28th or something, right? But basically, again, to go through this again, so we don't have anything, we've got ideas, we set the intentions, and then it takes all of these energies to get to the actual goal. And she likes that word goal, and we can use, whatever word you want. Milestones is a word that I learned from my friend Gail Coleman, right? Milestones, what are your dreams? But to understand that if you're going to start here and you're going to get here, that here are the things to focus in on. What are your ideas, but what are your intentions? And as I said earlier, I've got an intention book that I love, and I love to go back through it. And so intentions, like, why don't we just take a couple minutes here for anybody who feels like it? Because thought, word, deed, a deed is actually putting your intentions into a chat. It could be. You could tell us any intentions you have. Now, this is up to you. I mean, it's helping you like actually bring it into the physical plane because it's out there, it's coming in. Thought, word, deed, you're bringing it in. Well, our processes at EPI, we focus on what's the action step. We do all the processes and we get to the action step. The action step is, we call it measurable and pleasurable. It doesn't really matter what is the action step. What matters is that you're just decided you're actually taking the step to bringing it into the physical plane. Gotta drink some water. If anybody feels like telling us in the chat what is an intention, or you can speak it out loud. That'd be powerful word. Christy, I see you laughing and smiling, but do you want to tell us anything? Oh, Andy's pointing at something else. Okay, it's over there. We can't see.
It's in the chat and it's happening.
Oh, it's in the chat. 40 messages. Oh. Right. Okay. Thank you. Oh, I've been watching those VW buzz things. Wow, spreading
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. I was like 10 seconds into the commercial and said, I know what my intention is.
Great. Thanks, Heidi. Is it an intention if it's dependent on someone else's action? I'd say as you're looking at your intention, I don't think that's dependent on anybody else's actions. That you can feel nurtured and responded to. Feel nurtured and responded to. Okay, let's help with that one. What Heidi, where's Heidi? Can you wave at me? I don't see you. Anyway, maybe you'll just talk to me in the chat. If you felt nurtured and responded to, what would you be getting? Oh, there you are, Heidi. What's the thing you're really wanting?
I think it's like feeling fulfilled, met, attuned to, seen, because I feel like I'm often in situations that it feels like I'm not being responded to or something. So it's like feeling unfulfilled in some way.
Great.
But in my mind, it feels like that has to do with the other person. And so, I mean, I guess it doesn't, but it feels like it does.
I love that. I love where you are, right at the edge of that, because because it could be your intention to feel completely fulfilled with every interaction you have. Now, then that'll be interesting. And when we get to the unconscious stuff, to wonder like how well, this is EPI language. Like, how are you creating, not feeling connected with or met? What's happening for you? I mean, to really look at the guts of what's underneath that, of how you're ending up with that result. It's a good one. So, but getting down to the what do you really want is a way, I think of it as like a cascade. Well, if I won the lottery, what would I get? Oh, I would have more. Oh, I could sail the world. Okay, if I sailed the world, what would I get? Oh, I'd have freedom and adventure. Oh, so what I really want is freedom and adventure, like to get to what's the bottom line of what you're really wanting and make that your intention. So would you change what you wrote at all, or maybe you want to think about that?
I'm not sure, but I think it's really interesting because, like, even in having this conversation with you, I'm like, I feel like that intention is being fulfilled in some way because I'm
that's right.
like, so that's like kind of blowing my mind a little bit. But yeah, like, I think it's kind of like feeling um, like less frustrated. Like there's always this feeling of frustration, like I can't get what I want or something like that. And I guess that's what this whole conversation is about also. So it's kind of like, so maybe, yeah, I'll just be patient and continue listening. I'm glad to be here. It's very cool.
I'm glad you're here. Well, and that happens for me like over and over. Once I actually set the intention and I sort of look back into my life and like, oh, it's actually happening. I just didn't even notice that it was happening. Or as soon as I set the intention, that was beautiful. Like you immediately can experience, oh, look, there it is. That's what I'm after. Because then you can take apart, well, how did you just create that? Because I just was sitting here. You created. Do you know what you did?
Um, I'm not sure. I guess I was honest. I sort of went with the first thing. Like I was like, yeah, that's what I really want. Because I guess I noticed that that's a pattern. I just become more and more obvious to me that this is this pattern where I'm like in these situations where it's like there's a, I'm just not quite getting that fulfillment, like not getting what I want. And
Can get no satisfaction.
I guess maybe often there's been this thing like, yeah, like this belief I can't get what I want, or it's bad to get what I want, or
Oh, haha.
like I'm being selfish, or like, yeah, like this whole thing. So, um, like even when we're talking now about manifestation, I'm like, is it okay to manifest? Like, am I then going against like God's will, or what's the divine will, or like all this stuff, and then I get all in my head about like what am I really asking for, and should I ask for them, and it just becomes this whole spiral, and then I'm back into that frustration. I keep recreating this pattern where it's like, so yeah. um anyway, so what did I do? I don't know, because I feel like I'm also then going back into it too. So it's kind of like this thing where I feel like it's like I can never quite get clarity or get what I want or something. Anyway,
So
I feel like this is
thank
becoming
you.
a
Thanks for
therapy
stepping in. Yeah. And what I'd say as a reflection is in terms of how you created that was, like you said, you stepped in, you were honest, you're vulnerable, and really speaking from your heart. Um, right? So there are things, and the good news is, since we can all see each other, we can see what we're doing in a way that I can't see what I'm doing, but we can see it, right? So that collectively, people, getting feedback from others, friendly feedback can be very useful with all of this. So we can find out what are the unconscious pieces. But one of my favorite questions from Gay and Katie is, how am I creating this? How am I creating this? It's one of those that, bite you in the butt kind of questions. It's like, I'm right in the middle of a conflict. How am I creating this? I can see how you're creating this. If you would stop doing it, you blah, blah, blah. But what am I doing to create this? What am I doing to create this? Gives me the power back. And the longer the list, the more possibilities I have of doing something different. All right, so I want to just see if there's something else. And thank you very much, Christy, for laughing enough that I could see that I was missing the whole scroll. It's like, see, that's friendly feedback. So again, taking time to think about your intentions, write them down, and then and you can do it from the other direction of what are my goals for this year, but then what's behind that? What am I really wanting? And then to start to imagine there are all of these different kinds of energies to add. It's not just I need the money to do this. It's if I consider all of these resources, how can I apply them towards getting what I really want? This is a really fun thing to do with a couple because it can look like, one person needs to make all the money and they're the important ones, but then it turns out the other person is putting all of these other things into manifesting goals. And so it's very wonderful to see the co-creative experience and beyond a couple into a group, like to see how we put our resources together to generate what it is we're really wanting. And I'd say for the US, and of course the world itself beyond, like how can we co-create a world that we really are all going to benefit from and thrive in, because we've all got something to offer there. So, did you write down your intentions? Nudge, nudge, nudge. Keep writing, keep writing. So while you're doing that, oh, good, good, good. Oh, yeah, fun to see. Great. I'm just looking at that. Okay. So now phase 2 of us talking about this. Oh, how do we interface with the unconscious? Such a huge question. I'm just going to sit with that and enjoy it for a moment before we get into the thick of this, because it can be pretty provocative. So let's talk about this. Like, what are we even talking about? Well, and I'll be clear what I'm talking about with this unconscious word. And I know people use subconscious. I was taught way back when Freud said unconscious, so I prefer that term. That it's all, what's the unconscious? It's all the stuff. It's all the things that are over there somewhere. I think of it as the hard drive, because I don't want my hard drive to be all in the screen. It would be gobbledygook. There's no way I could sort any information if it wasn't filed away in these organized files that we call our unconscious, that we call our brain. Like all that stuff is somewhere else, and we want it to be somewhere else. Again, I don't want to be thinking about my pancreas right now. I don't want to be thinking about what I ate for breakfast the first day of kindergarten. I mean, it's all in there somewhere. I could probably find out, but that's way, way too much information. I don't want to have to sort out, as I'm walking down the street, whether what can I just walk down the street, or am I going to be kind of bombarded by my memories, by things that happened so long ago, by, right when I've have experiences of trauma flashbacks, it's because, the bang of the, whatever, the backfiring, right, reminded my body, my unconscious, of some threat or danger from the past. Well, that is very intrusive. And so being able to put that away, being able to put it behind the wall of defenses is the way to stay functional. It's just way too much. What does it mean to be crazy, psychotic? Like on the other side, when the defenses have really evaporated or crumbled, it's because there's too much. I can't tell the difference between what's going on from the inside and what's on the outside. I don't have reality testing. So in other words, yay for an unconscious, yay for defenses. That's a good thing. But now we're going to mess with them. Okay, so let's first be grateful and then say, but there's stuff over there that I want to have some impact on. How do I do that? There's Krishnamurti. Well, look at my life. Oh, now what does that mean? Well, you'll find out more in a little bit, but it means that, again, you can see the things I can't see when I say, why don't I have time to do the blah, blah in my complaining way? You could say, well, Julie, what have you been doing with your time? Right. But why does I don't know, why don't I feel supple and agile or whatever? You say, well, Julie, if it weren't such a good one, right? You can see it. So look at my life, and then I can actually notice things, notice patterns that are not usually in my awareness because I don't want them to be there. It's too much. Plus, it's too scary. Plus, maybe I don't really want to know how I'm creating that. So that's what we're going to be playing with here, y'all. So get brave right now. Put on your, I don't know, your explorer's vest. Does anybody have one of those vests that has all the cool pockets and, like a fisher? Wouldn't that be fun? All right. Anyway, so, and here's another one. Yay, gay. So commitment. So we just went from this idea of what's unconscious to commitments. We're putting these things together. What am I committed to? Well, it's the same idea. Oh, look at my life. Look at the results I'm creating. It's the same idea. Okay, so we're in the same vicinity with these two guys. Thank you, Gay, and thanks, Krishnamurti. And to get specific, this is what Gay means by commitment. And Katie, too, I believe I've never sat down with them to ask, but I think Gay mostly was, considering sitting on a rock somewhere trying to figure this out. I don't know if that's true. It's a big supposition. Who knows? Anyway, so maybe we should add Katie's name to that. But to think about commitment is how you're organizing your energies. That's all we mean by commitment here. This is not are you a committed person? Are you committed to this relationship? It's simply how I'm organizing my energies. You can tell my commitments by how I'm organizing my energies. Right. So I'm going to pause there so we can talk about that for a minute. You can tell I'm committed to this because I've organized my energies to create today. Right. So you'd say, oh, Julie, cool. That's a commitment. You could also, I could look at my unconscious commitments about, was that a good idea to do that on a holiday? Like, well, right. You can really look, is that really in alignment with myself? I'd say yes. I feel aligned. And also I have a little sense of wanting a treat. So probably there's a little place in me like, oh, yeah, I was right. So there's more to the story than just what it looks like. And so that's the place that we're looking. Okay. Is to start to really look at what are the things underneath that we're not actually aware of. It hasn't come to our awareness. Okay. So I think I don't have a good question to ask you before I am opening, unless anybody has any questions right now. So we're going to do a process in a minute, and I will ask for a volunteer. So think about whether you want to be that volunteer, because I'm going to ask you to be my demonstration partner so that we can show everybody what this process looks like. So I'm hoping you have a complaint and you feel stuck about some issue that you would love to get unstuck about, so that then we can show you. So then I think, why don't we do that next? And then I can pause for questions. I think that will bring up some thoughts and ideas. Okay, Stacy, are you saying you're ready to be my demo partner?
Sure, I'll be your demo partner.
Great. I'm deciding whether I want to bring up the handout. Yes. I'm going to put the handout into the chat that I'm going to be using. But Stacy, don't look at it. Well, you've done it before.
Oh.
Now, what this means is I better look at the handout when I'm talking to Stacy so that you can see what I'm doing. I've done it enough times. I tend to riff on this. All right, so I'm going to pin Stacy and me so that I can see you better, Stacy, and I'm going to, so you can see me. Hi. Good to see you.
You as well. That's great.
All right, so now I got to look at the thingy. And that's going to be over here, so I can. I have an unconscious commitment to having way too much on my desktop, Kathy says. It's the tabs that aren't open. Okay, so would you take about 1 or 2 minutes to complain?
Sure. So I work in a small team as part of a larger team, but I'm an academic advisor at a university, and so we have 4 of us on the team. And I was recently off for 5 weeks on medical leave. And then when I came back, I was also on a slow return to work plan, but we were in the middle of exams. And the other advisors, 2 of the other advisors were just coming and going whenever they wanted. We're supposed to be there from 8:30 to 4 as academic advisors. We're supposed to be there at 7:30 with the exams. And the other academic advisor who supports the same students as I do, the HBA ones, is just shows up at 9 or 10 after 9 and leaves at 2:30 to go to her second job. And there was a couple days leading up to the break where she was working at her other job while she said she was working from home on our stuff. And I am livid about it.
Great. So we're going to reduce your complaint to one short, succinct sentence. I'm livid because she doesn't work enough, or
Yeah, I'm livid at work ethic.
I'm livid at her work ethic.
Yes.
I'm livid at her work ethic.
Yes, I am livid at her work ethic.
Great, great, great. Okay, so now we're going to take the next step. Substitute, I'm committed to
I'm committed to
being livid.
I'm committed to being livid at her work ethic. Yeah,
Great.
I would agree to that. Yes.
You've organized your energies into lividicity.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
100%. Okay, so now let's so repeat that sentence till you can begin to wonder what's the bottom line unconscious commitment.
Oh, the
I'm
bottom line
committed to.
is I'm committed to being livid at her work ethic. I'm committed to being livid at her work ethic.
And let's play around with
What's
this. Would you add it, just change out the word so it's I create being livid at her work ethic?
Sure. I create being livid at her work ethic, which is interesting because what's coming to me is I create my own suffering. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm create being committed to being livid at her work ethic, then I am creating my own suffering.
I'm jotting it down. And let's play around with that. So I'm committed to suffering.
I am committed to suffering. Yeah. 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 And I'm committed to deeply being in the triangle, which is creating my own suffering.
So I'm reading the prompt. So will you repeat that unconscious commitment several times until you can begin to appreciate how committed you are to suffering?
Oh, I'm super committed to suffering. I am really committed to suffering in this situation. Yeah. Like I'm building a house. I'm so committed. I want prime real estate. I'm so committed to creating my own suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as you're saying that, I'm wondering if there's a way for you to start to appreciate your commitment to suffering.
It's interesting because suffering has always been my go-to.
Um,
Um,
hmm.
Yeah, it's only in the last few years that I've allowed myself to be truly happy.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like if you're not suffering, if it's not pain, if it's not, then is it worth it? Right? Yeah.
So, um, let's wonder about the ways this has really worked for you, how this has supported you, this commitment to suffering.
I think that it's kept me safe for sure.
Mhm.
Or at least I thought it kept me safe. Um, Sort of the idea if you don't expect anything, then when you get nothing, it
Mhm.
doesn't hurt, which actually isn't true.
Mhm.
But it has kept me safe. It has kept me from trusting people, from believing in people, being vulnerable.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How are you doing in your body right now?
It's funny, when we started this, I had a headache come on like that. But now that we've left, I'm feeling, almost a bit sad. Like I've got some tightness in my throat here and some stuff in my chest. Um, because I've done so much work to let that suffering piece of me go, but now I realize that I am creating this huge amount of suffering for myself all over again.
Yeah. So let yourself feel that sadness and kind of land here like, oops, yep, I'm
Yeah.
doing that. I'm doing that. So I wonder what you really want.
I think I want to be able to trust,
Mm.
right? Like it was really vulnerable to me for me to have to take those 5 weeks off to ask my team to come in and help. I have a hard time asking for help. I have had a hard time asking for help my whole life. Vanessa and I will still sometimes butt heads because I get stuck on trying to ask for help.
Mhm.
And so I felt I was really vulnerable, and I just I yeah, I'm afraid of that vulnerability. But I want to be able to comfortably ask for assistance and trust that people have got it.
So what you really want, if we could get it to spoil it down, because there's something about that vulnerability. It sounds like, ugh, I have to like step in and do the ugh. I don't know, is that how it feels to you? Like
Yeah,
I got to keep making myself do this thing that I don't really want to do.
yeah.
But I wonder what you really want.
I think I want to feel
Did you say safe?
safe.
Sa-
Yeah,
I didn't know if I missed that.
yeah. I want to feel safe in that environment. And it just, yeah, that scares me to, um, it scares me to kind of let that guard down.
Ah, uh-huh. So what I really want, and as we kind of keep going to let my guard down, it sounds like to just kind of be who you are.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just want to be who I am. I don't want all this added responsibility.
Mm. What added
or to
responsibility?
feel like to feel that it's my added responsibility
To what?
to be the good employee,
Oh,
to not feel like, yeah, that I'm just the stoic one.
the one with the good work ethic, even if it means suffering.
Yeah, like it's like I don't want, yeah, I don't want to keep putting myself in this position of suffering and all of this when, like, to what end? I feel like I'm very much heroing, like I'm trying to hero, and I don't want to be that. I want to be out of the triangle.
Oh, okay.
Right? I don't want to be in this deep triangle like this. And I want to know that what I do, my worth, what I do good work, and that's it. That's what I do.
Okay, so as we've wandered around to what you really want, let's see if we can get like a short, succinct, pithy. What I
Sure.
really want is what?
What I really want is to be out of the triangle
Okay.
and doing good work.
Huh. And if you were going to create a word or something that means to you out of the triangle, like what's the positive? Like, I don't want that damn triangle, but it's what's the thing? How would you know? What would it feel like if you're out of the triangle?
Oh, that I was in expansion,
Huh.
100%, which I would just be so, I mean, I think I'm really great at my job, but if I can be in expansion, like the possibilities are endless. So yeah, I just want to be an expansion in my role and at my
Expansion.
job.
I want to walk around in an
Yeah.
expansion in my role. I hear it above the line or create a brand, like all that stuff.
Yeah, and then I'm in creative brain and I'm, because I'm working with students and it's about them. They're the ones falling apart. I need to be there to be an expansion and creative. So my energy's high, I can bring them up as opposed to walking around like,
Right. Who's not doing their job. Yeah.
yeah,
So what's the I commit, we're getting there. Uh you said to be an expansion. Be an expansion.
yeah.
What happens when you put I commit to living from expansion at work or something? If you put those things together, what would be your sentence?
I think it would be something very similar to that. I commit to being an expansion at work.
What
Um,
happens when you say that? How does your body like that?
I feel lighter. I feel like I can breathe. Like I'm walking in and I'm like, I just feel the potential of all the things I can accomplish,
Right.
right? If I come in and I am committed to expansion and creative brain, then it all seems possible, no matter what happens.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So then come up with an action step, measurable, pleasurable, something easy, little, that would be one little action towards creating being in expansion at work.
I think one thing for me I have to remember to do is breath. I just took a breath, like a deep, intentional breath, and I could feel myself coming back into expansion. Just breathing, because I think I get marred down with all of it, and I'm shallow breathing, I'm contracted, and if I can intentionally, when I feel that, just take a moment and step away and take a deep, intentional breath.
You're literally expanding your lungs and your
I am, and I'm moving my shoulders back, which is something I could very easily do at work at any given moment. Right in the mix of feeling that contraction, I can just lean back and just breathe.
so a measurable, pleasurable action step, one little thing, what would that be? Just one time. I mean, well,
Pause.
I'll breathe every time. It might be too much. Right. One
No,
easy
just pause and
pause.
breathe.
Pause and breathe. So maybe like a sign or something that would help you pause and breathe one time,
Yeah,
or
I can. I've got my own little, yeah, pause and breathe. I
pause and
remember
breathe.
Vanessa for the longest time gave me, I had a little sticker in my old job 100 years ago that said breathe. And so I can absolutely put something that is like pause and breathe.
Great. By when?
Yeah, no, that feels great.
By
Pardon
when?
me?
By when will you do that?
Oh, I'll do it up today, and I go back to the office on the 6th, and I'll do one. I work from home sometimes too, so I'll do one here today and put it here, and then I'll do up something else that I can take and slap it on my monitors at work.
Perfect.
So,
Great.
but I go back to work on Friday. I'm in meetings all day on Friday, so I will practice it then. So I'll have it ready for then.
So one last piece of this isn't on the the form. Do you have a piece of paper right there?
Yeah, yeah, I sure do.
So on one side,
Yeah.
write old unconscious commitment.
Um,
And then I think it was I'm committed to suffering.
yeah, yeah,
And then just
I'm
turn it
committed.
over to your new
Yeah.
conscious. Just turn it over.
Mm-hmm.
And now write new commitment.
Yeah.
I commit to being expanded at work.
I commit. Okay.
Because then the next time you're like, rah, they left early. You can say, oh, there it is. There's my old commitment. There it is. Okay. I recommit to
Yeah.
feeling expanded at work. And you could put a little asterisk and breathing more or something, to remind you.
Yeah, I think I'll do this up too, and then I can have one here and one at work with my conscious commitment, but then I can, again, with the breathing, I can be like, okay, all right, committing to suffering right now.
Yeah. I could do that whole
Yeah.
thing. To me, it's just
Yeah.
like which direction am I going to sail? I could go into the sewage area, but maybe
Yeah.
today I'm going to go back to I'm going to recommit. I just recommit to this new commitment to
Yeah.
feeling expanded.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. All
Thank you.
right. I'm going to unpin us now. And okay, that's unconscious to conscious commitments. This is like, this has got lots in there, y'all, if you're willing to go to dive deep. Like those things that you think it's always been that way. Like Heidi's like those people out there, they're always like that, whatever. But my life always is, and I never can, and that stuff. That's what we want to go for. That's why we've got a whole 55 minutes left, because now you can get in there and be like, but wait, what am I unconsciously committed to? But first, let's talk about that. What came up? Anybody have questions, comments? Michael, I see your mouth moving. Oh, but maybe you're talking to Celeste. Yeah, Megan.
Hi, thank you
Hi.
for this. That was really beautiful and so useful for me. So thank you, Stacy, for sharing. Um, I don't want to go into all of it by any means because I know we don't have a lot of time, but I just as you were wrapping up with Stacy, I just had this old commitment come up of I'm unsure I can take care of myself. And I see that happening just all the time, like unsure if I'm going to be able to do this, or unsure, or my finances. I'm unsure, like right? This like I'm like, oh, that's such a commitment that I just keep coming back to.
Yeah, that's
And
a
so I
great
see
example.
that part, but the new commitment is kind of like I feel fuzzy. So if anyone has any popcorn ideas, just like put it in the chat box, or Julie, like anything like I commit to,
Well,
I
before
mean,
we
what I would,
before
yeah,
we just rush you through that, Megan, if you're willing, let's play with this a little
yeah,
more because The thing is, our commitments are smart. I mean, we're not
Yeah.
stupid people. Our psyches are efficient. They figured, all right, this is all the input we've ever had in our lives. This actually makes sense. So let's imagine that that commitment of yours is made sense for you until before we try to disrupt it. Let's celebrate it. So how has it
Mm.
served you to be unsure?
Mm. I'm cautious. I research things. I take my time. I get opinions. I get input. Um, I do all the educational practices you can do. Yeah, it keeps me safe, and I think our culture kind of celebrates that approach, or the culture that I was raised in.
Mhm.
Um, thoughtful, researched, and yeah.
So I love what you're saying. I mean, that you just came up with like 6 or 8 things that this is. So
Mhm.
if we offered you, for example, let's have an affirmation, Megan, that no, I'm wild and free. I go on the wind. Well, or whatever. I'm exaggerating, of course, but
Yeah.
that's okay. But it doesn't address any of those things you just listed. Right? So those things are
Yeah.
important. Those are like, go you. You're the one I should turn to for research. Like, right? People probably do that. They know to rely on you. And so we don't want to just throw it all out versus actually shaping something that serves you, that speaks to who you are and what you really want. Because I wonder as you've kind of started to be with, oh yeah, that is a lot of great things that's done for you. Um, I wonder what you do really want.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess that's why I got a little stumped on the new commitment,
Mhm.
because I felt strongly about kind of letting go of this constant sense of doubting myself. There's something about like agency. I wish I could feel that sense of agency more easily. Like I'm committed to, or what do I really want, to feeling my own sense of agency.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. Well, let's try that. Now, I can remember the moment Katie Hendricks corrected me. I was in a workshop and I said, "Well, okay, here's my new commitment. I'm committed to." She said, "Well, actually, you're not. You don't have any actual evidence of this new commitment. So it's I commit to." So Megan, try that. I commit to what? Experiencing myself as an agent, or what words would you put with that?
Yeah, I'm finding a hard time finding the words. I commit to, the word trust came up. I commit to trusting myself. I commit to trusting myself. I commit to, I wrote down taking a stand to take care of myself. Um, I commit to being a loving presence for myself.
Oh, beautiful. How does that feel in your body?
Yeah, that feels beautiful. And I have a wave of sadness. So maybe
Oh,
I feel sad. I feel waves like that, happy and sad. So it's,
uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
You kind of the penny just dropped for you. Like, oh, that's what it is.
yeah.
Instead of like, I should be fine and confident. Oh, it's like, oh, to be a loving presence for yourself. Oof.
Yeah.
And will you say the words back to us and find out what happens? I commit to.
I commit to being a loving presence for myself.
How did that feel?
I commit. I take a stand for being a loving presence for myself. I commit to being a loving presence for myself. I commit to standing as a loving presence for myself. Yeah, they all feel really good.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Yes. And again, so it's like the idea of it's this easy. You can just find that old, you write down the old one And like, oh, there I am doubting myself again. I remember this. I've done this a million times. But all I need to do is recommit to taking a stand to being a loving presence for myself.
Mm,
To feel the again, the heft, the strength of you sending yourself in a new direction. Sure, I could do the same thing that I've done all this time. I'm great at it. It's done all these things for
yeah,
me. And now it's time. I'm stepping in a new direction to take a stand to be a loving presence for myself.
yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
And do you
yeah.
have an action step? One little easy, measurable, pleasurable?
I love that. Measurable and pleasurable. Oh, ay, oy. It it doesn't feel, it feels hard to put in concrete terms. Um, uh, I mean, I don't know how measurable it is, but just like noticing when I'm not being a loving presence for myself, um, like just noticing that and even just remembering this conversation at that moment. I don't know.
Uh, so
Uh,
let's make it easy. The whole idea of like, well, I'll meditate every day for the rest of my life. Like, you're really trying to
yeah.
make it something that you can do. Because again, not with the idea that it's going to solve everything. It's just one more way of bringing it into the physical realm. We're getting across that border into the physical. And so, like an easy thing for you to do, yeah, to remember this conversation, maybe to take this. How about a screenshot that you could put up, or something that would be.
Hmm.
Anybody else have any ideas for Megan about what would be measurable, pleasurable
Welcome.
way of
I'd welcome any creative ideas.
loving, taking a stand to be a loving presence? I have all kinds of little things on my desk. This is not a loving presence, but I have dolls. This is my little reactor brain presence. It's not loving. It's more like, rah. But anyway, I wonder if there's something you could put right there that would also be,
Yeah.
something that would remind you.
Mm-hmm.
Here I am.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sing it or dance it. Oh, look at that. Oh, like
Yeah.
to wear
I like
bracelets.
that. I
Uh-huh.
also like the bracelet a lot. I was thinking if I could find a bracelet or a necklace that could be, with me, accompanying me, it would be pleasurable as well.
Beautiful.
Uh-huh. Hand to heart. Yeah, that's another one I do love. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Julie. I feel complete.
Great. So who else? Because this is um we've got time here, so let's play with all of us, but I think we'll do some breakout rooms just so you have a minute to talk to each other about this too, like what's the unconscious commitment, but let me just see if there's something else that's on your minds right now. The challenge here is it's unconscious. It's supposed to be. And so trying to get it out of there so I can see it, that's the challenge here. Because no, it's true. People are always like that. Relationships are, men are, women are, they are, who knows? Like life is. It's like, no, it turns out I've committed myself to seeing life in that way. And I get to change my commitment, unless I don't want to. A very provocative example of this that I like to use of commitment is I had colon cancer 6 years ago now, it's been. And along the way, I faced into the fact that I was committed to creating a tumor. Now, who would say that? You would never say that to a camper. Like, that would have been terrible. You said, Julie, you're committed to. I'd be like, shut up. That is so mean. Until I was like, oh, well, that was actually true because my body had decided, had figured it out. I mean, I couldn't tell it right now, do the thing. It just said, okay, with all of the environmental whatevers and the blah, blah, and whatever she's eating, we're going to have a tumor. So So that is an example of a commitment, a specific, I created a result. It doesn't mean I thought that I wanted that. This is not a blame. It's not like, oh, Julie, you made yourself have cancer. I'm not saying that at all. I do not believe that. I'm not trying to put that out there. But I am saying, I mean, I wanted to know. I wanted to know what part of me thought that was a good idea. And if I could interface with that and have a way of understanding how did that serve me? What was that commitment about? I wanted to be in there saying, well, it turns out I'd like to change that commitment now because I don't want to keep doing that. Now, well, it remains to be seen if that will happen. I don't know. But right, to start to see it's how I organize my energies. It's not a conscious, oh, this is what I want. It's my energies created this result.
Julia, I think hearing you talk about like releasing the blame of it, like, oh, I've held this intention or this commitment, and therefore I'm like doing this to myself. And hearing it that way in that provocative example was really helpful. I think it brings in for me like a love for myself. Like I'm a here now because of all the factors that have existed and all of the things that have like been true or come through me in my life. And yeah, and I'm playing with this notion about like trauma or pain, or things that I have felt like have happened to me.
Mhm.
And releasing into the notion that I am a commitment to suffering. Or sorry, that's not
Mm. No,
that's
right.
not the word. I'm a
That's what I
commitment
mean.
to feeling threatened.
Oh, oof.
And that feels big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That like, yeah, to hold on to the protections or the armor, like the things that I thought were protecting me, to use some of the language that one of you beautiful folks who already shared used, like these pieces that I thought were protecting me, or me not wanting to like allow myself to be hurt, or feeling worried that people are going to leave me, or yeah, I think has created in me a commitment to feeling threatened.
Which again made sense. It probably served you well. Like it's just, is that what you want to continue to stay committed to into the future? And especially if
Not
you become aware
at
of it,
all.
it's like, huh, well, that was a good idea at the time, but now time for an update, software update.
Yeah, yeah, I don't want that.
So do you have a sense at this point, Annie, of any new commitment?
um yeah, so is the next step like what do I want, or what's the flip side of that unconscious commitment?
Yeah, I'd say the kind of the stripped down version would be, uh-oh, oh yeah, I'm committed to it. Oh, how's that serve me? That was, wow, good job, Julie. You're quite a creator.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now what is it that I really want? Now that I've seen what this has done for me and what I've been committed to, yeah, what do I really want at this point?
What do I really want at this point? Freedom, ease,
Mm.
joy,
And there might
like
be
with myself, for myself.
great. And there might, Annie, there might be something in there too about I don't know, whatever being like your threat radar has done for you. Like
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that my reactor brain is radaring for threat. I just don't want it to take up so much of my awareness. And so, I mean, you might
Right.
want to still build that in some way, in a friendly way or a low key way, or it's in the background, or so that it's not you're not. I mean, I don't know if you want to, but it's you can integrate pieces from the old commitment if you want to. Is my point.
Yeah, thanks for that. It feels a little hard. I think I feel like a little storminess in my belly about like letting go of that all the way. Because I have I I I feel like I want to thank that, right? That old unconscious commitment. And there's a lot that I have a lot of perceived threat that I have carried that I don't think is really serving um me now.
So maybe maintain discernment or something, or so as you consider this. I mean, you don't have to like figure it all out at the second, but to really
Yeah.
wonder what do I really want? I mean, that question, what do I really want? Well, I
Yeah.
want to walk through safe world. Well, I want to generate, I don't know, an open heart as I have a three-dimensional body. I mean, who knows? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that feels good.
Yeah. Thanks.
So let's just want to see, is there any other like big question? Because I think y'all having, oh, there's Heidi. Hi, Heidi. Do you have a question?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I just had a question about like where beliefs interface with this because like I was looking at, okay, let's just say like I'm unconsciously committed to not getting what I want, and then I want to move into the commitment of getting what I want. But then I'm like, I have a belief that if I get what I want, I'm being bad. So it's like it's blocking me from going into the commitment that I can get what I want because I have this belief, and I'm curious like how to work with that belief that feels like I kind of believe it. Like I do. Like like there's a part of me anyway that believes that. Um
So what I'd offer
yeah.
you is that you're very committed to seeing yourself as bad.
Yes.
Oh. It takes one to
Yeah,
know one, I
that's
suppose, but just to like, oh, okay, like, and a belief, right? I'm actually hearing Esther Hicks. A belief is something we think of about over and over again, and she repeats that anyway. She does the Abraham channeling. A belief is something we think about over and over. Anyway, so it's basically we've installed that into ourselves. We've thought about it so many times, or it's come from so many directions. Like, ugh, we're just marinated in it. So, but what a great example of a commitment. How does that land for you? Like, oh, I am committed to seeing myself as bad.
yeah. Yeah, it often comes down to that. And then doubting myself because I like want to think that I'm good, but I really think I'm bad. And so like no matter what, like I'm like, but like I find a way to sabotage myself, I guess. So yeah, no, that feels very true. Yeah.
Big day, Heidi, go for it. What's that like for you to land there? Like, oh, I'm committed to viewing myself as bad. And I don't know, maybe there are more words to go with that.
Um, oh my God. I feel like I'm like almost going blank because it's like, yeah. Um,
So just we can go slowly here, by the way. There's no rush. This is a very, very big one. Western civilization would support you in this moment to say, no, of course. Anyway, like very foundational. And that
yeah.
place of going blank and kind of some level of nausea seems to be part and parcel of going into the unconscious. It's like a signal.
Yeah, and it feels like there's all these interconnected things too, like around like being seen. Like I was noticing, like even in our interaction before, like if someone I was like, I don't want this to be like therapy, but I was just like, oh my God, da, da, da. And I was like, well, yeah, that has to also do with probably me not feeling like I'm like fulfilled in relationships with her because it's like hard for me to actually be there in the relationship. Like there was all these like light bulb moments around that. And I think it's probably connected with this like shame and like I'm bad. And so people like in a thinking like if I actually get what I want, it's like I'm manipulating the situation and like all these different like connected beliefs and things.
Yes.
Um,
Yep. So what happens if you say these words? And again, you're speaking for several folks on the call. This is not just about you, so thank you for being willing. Um, so trying this out, I'm committed to viewing myself as bad or seeing myself as bad, whatever the words are.
yeah. I mean, I guess there's a part of me that really believes it's true though.
Mm-hmm. Which is,
So
mm-hmm, right? What if it's just who I am? Like, what do you mean committed to? Now, from the outside of you, that's why it's helpful to have people on the outside. I could be like, well, I don't know, maybe it is a commitment versus it's just what is.
right. Yeah.
What's happening in your body now?
Yeah. I'm like, I guess there's a part also committed to being stuck in or something, or like, anyway, it keeps, yeah, like I'm, I guess, yeah, no, it just feels very true. All these things are coming in. I'm like, oh yeah, like I was in all these circumstances also where like I received all these like diagnoses and kind of like pathology. And I'm like, oh yeah, like this, there's been all these, I guess, instances that have affirmed that belief also that are like, I guess, coming into my mind.
Yeah.
Um, and like just like a lot of different things. And then I'm like, oh, then there's a part where it's like you're taking up too much space, and the part being seen like so like I feel like this like becoming like it's like we're like in the heart of the wound or something, and it's like all these different. So it just feels like almost like this like collapse energy. It's like my brain. I'm like I can't really. My heart is good. I'm just
Ah,
like
ah. So
I'm
right
gonna
now,
die. Yeah.
yeah, right. We went straight, the arrow went straight in the middle. So how about taking a breath? Just taking a breath. We can all breathe. Yeah. And to find your breath. Like here I am, I'm in this body and I'm just breathing. There's that breath thing happening. And what happens if you just watch those words? Oh, we moved around. I got to find you again. Words move through your mind. Oh, did we? Oh, there you are. Maybe I lost you. Now you've moved down there. If you just watch the words go through your mind, I'm committed to seeing myself as bad. Mhm.
Yeah, it creates like more distance, like a bit of space.
Mhm. And try out these
Mhm.
words too. Like I create seeing myself as bad.
I create seeing myself as bad. Ooh, I feel like I could cry. Yeah,
Crying is good. I'm a big fan.
yeah.
Do you know what the tears are about?
I guess I feel sad. It's like years and years of suffering, like someone else was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Like that. Um, like it just feels really sad.
Yeah. So letting yourself feel sad about that. It's really noticing that like years and years. It's been a lifetime walking around in this thinking it was true, but it turns out, oh, I was keeping that going. I was creating that.
Yeah, it's like if that's not true, like what have I been doing?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like it's been so foundational in my like way of organizing myself.
So Heidi, as you breathe with this, I just want to invite folks to comment on this, if they can relate to what Heidi's talking about, this basic belief in being bad. Anybody have anything you want to say about that?
I can relate to that wholeheartedly. Um, I've said in this group before, but I think that I was gay in the womb, and I grew up with born again Christian parents, and so I learned from a very young age that I was an abomination, and I lived with that shame for probably 40 years
Domination. Oof.
until I could reconcile it. So 100% I can feel that I'm bad.
When the Dalai Lama heard about how much self-hatred there is in the West, he put his head down and cried. And that was so helpful for me to see. Oh, you mean there are people out there that don't believe that? That's where there was the first crack for me of, wait, what? You mean it's not universal to being human? And no, it's not. I mean, maybe in the Judeo-Christian kind of culture, but other cultures do not walk around with that. And I don't know if you saw the comments there too, Heidi. It's so Heidi, how are you doing in your body now? Oh, and I see you, Hiroko. I'll ask in a moment, but Heidi, how are you doing in your body now?
Yeah, I think this has been it's really amazing because it's like, yeah, just feeling that, uh, I guess I feel some relief. Like it's like, and it's nice to know. I mean, like, I guess I've known cognitively, like this is a common wounding or like the classic wounding or something, but at the same time, I guess I've then had this thought, I guess, based on the belief, yeah, but like, but it's true for me, you know what I mean? Like, just like this not getting out of it kind of thing. And um it's amazing to feel these tears, like to feel like I'm actually like considering that possibility that it's something that I'm creating and isn't a fact, or a truth.
Yeah, right. Right. I think that that's part of the power of this language. Oh, I'm creating this. I'm keeping this going. I'm committed to it. Says, oh, there's the me in there that's doing this thing instead of it's happening to me. I'm at the effective life and all of these things are, I mean, that's why we're spending this couple of hours to be able to really see, oh, wait, no, it's not out there, it's in here. I'm the source of this. Yeah, Hiroko.
Yeah. I think that the difference too is like, yeah, like having this space, like, thank you so much. And like your actual like curiosity and attunement. And then it's like, I'm not just like on a surface level being like, yeah, I think I'm bad. And like, yeah, everyone thinks that. Like, it's like kind of like you're like actually focused on me. And then I'm actually like reflecting on it. And I'm actually having this like somatic experience. And like my face is really hot. And like so there's like, it's so different. I think like actually going through the process also with someone and then everyone also kind of witnessing it and then people also relating. And it's like, that's very different a different experience than sort of cognitively being like, oh yeah, I have this belief and like not quite getting anywhere with it.
In my body. It's in my body. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's that 95% is operating from here. Hiroko, did you have a comment?
Yes, I was gonna say, by the way, I'm heavily jet lagged, so please let me know if I start speaking in
Welcome
Japanese.
back.
Thank you. I was gonna say that with this, like whether it's unconscious commitment or manifestation, my challenge is this, is that as soon as I start saying like I'm committing or I'm creating, then that inadequacy persona can come in, that I'm guilty or I'm bad or so that's the part that I have to, I have to ask my persona to be an ally in this, or,
Yeah.
when I hear, I mean, first of all, it was for me as a as somebody who's listening to English as a second language, when I hear unconscious and commitment, they seem opposite.
Mm-hmm.
you know, the
Mm-hmm.
unconscious commitment, like a commitment is something that you do
You
consciously,
make,
and
right. I
yeah,
can be too. Mm-hmm.
then right. So then I have to think about, oh, okay, so like I hear the word organizing and I'm thinking, oh yeah, like an impetus, like I'm thinking about some like a word like an impetus. And then when I hear you say, Julie, that when I had colon cancer, that I had to think about it, and then I'm thinking, oh, okay, so what kind of like things that came up, and then is it about like maybe diet? It could be about like people talked about work ethics, the energy that goes around it. People start, how it affects, immune system. I think about all these things, but then I wonder, like, how did Julie keep herself, kind and compassionate, and how did she do this without creating more of a sense of like a guilt, or because I don't want that. That doesn't help me.
I think I've been quite, I've done this process so many times. That's not what comes up for me typically. Now, again, if somebody pointed it out for me, like, Julie, don't you know you're blah, blah, I'm not so sure I'd be like, oh, thank you. I might be like, it might take me a few, who knows, to come back. But I'm pretty used to like, oh, yeah, oh, there it is. I mean, sometimes I have a, ugh, oh, there it is. Yeah, I did that. So, but in general, I'm just really aware of, oh, that's just my body going through what it needs to, from shame to guilt, like all the way up the map to move through so that I can come back into celebration and appreciating. And Heidi, that's what I would hold out for you is, can you really celebrate and appreciate how committed you've been to this? Because that's where we're going here. It's not, can't believe you've been, that is not the way out of here. Like or through here. It's saying, woohoo, it's good job, Jules. That was something else. I didn't even know I could do that. Like, so to go there with this, to bring it back into an expanded field of consciousness instead of one more reason to go after ourselves. This is not that. It's not going to help. What transmutes this is loving it, celebrating and appreciating, me like, yeah, uh-huh. And especially to say, wow, if I can create that unconsciously, who knows what I'm capable of creating consciously, right? I mean, that's like, wow. So start to see the powers of creation that we each are carrying with us that I think are really easy to not notice. Versus, oh, yeah, I am that creator. You are those creators. You're doing it all the time. You just don't know you're doing it. And to be able to step back and be like, whoa, yeah, I've been doing a whole lifetime of this. What could I do if I shifted that to a conscious commitment, a conscious creation?
Great. So I'm hearing like staying above the line while you're doing this too. And then
Thanks.
I really appreciate that, because if I was to work with other people, that is so helpful to, if I kind of held on to the belief of coming, coming from a place of, inadequacy or feeling guilty and bad and so forth, that's gonna show somehow, I think, too, when I work with other people. But from what you just said, it's a completely different experience.
Well, and to add in, and for those of you that don't know what Hiroko is referring to, it's the inner map. You can find it on the Evolutionary Power Institute website if you look, or just email me and I'll send you one. When I first watched Gay Hendricks do this, I can see it really clearly because I was like, whoa, what is he doing? There was a woman who the issue was she couldn't get pregnant. Now, that's kind of a big deal for people, and they have lots of feelings when they've been working hard to get pregnant, and look, it hasn't worked. And that was what she was bringing in. And so when he was working with her to say, "Oh, I'm committed to not being pregnant," like, I was really scared, and I didn't know where that was going to go. I create not being pregnant. What? Huh? But as he did this with her, I can see her, and oh, how has that served her? I can remember. Oh well, I'm not really sure I want to stay with this man. It's like I don't trust him to be with me. I don't. There were lots of really good reasons. But what he described was going up the tonal scale, where first, when she first faced into it, oh yeah, I am committed to that. Feeling like really icky, shame, and then the sadness, like Heidi maybe can relate, like, okay, hitting the sadness, and then, but continuing to go up. Maybe there was some anger. I can't remember. Oh, I'm too pissed off that I've been carrying this. But then to get into this space of appreciation. So to not expect, like, I can just get that through my body like in a couple of moments. It takes time. Bodies are short, slow. It's my story. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like it. It's mass. It can take some time to move through that, and then to get back to, okay, can I really appreciate and celebrate and love myself for being so committed to this? Just to allow for that in this process. I'm aware that we're not doing breakout rooms. So shifting to the chat, if anybody wants to put stuff into the chat that you've got a specific question right now that you'd love for us to address together, because I was holding that out, but clearly I'm committed to staying together. I do like it better. It's true. I was trying to push against my own commitment. Because there's Maury. I get to see Maury and Julie and everybody. How do we co-create with others? Christopher, do you want to say more?
Yeah, I'd love to. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I'm wearing a headset. So how do we co-create, for example, with clients? One of my big intentions for this year is expanding my coaching practice. Now, I can intend, I'd like to enroll, 20 new clients this month, but that also requires someone else to do something. So what are your thoughts there on how I can organize my energy? Which, by the way, I've taken lots of notes. Organizing my energies has been one of my best takeaways, so thank you. How can I organize my energies on something that will require someone to say yes, often, invest?
What a great question. Where I would start with is the intention. It's my intention to see 20 clients in a month. Is that right? Do I have that right?
Yeah, yes. Right.
Because now you're co-creating with nature, right? You supply the intention, nature supplies the raw materials. Like, yeah, I'm putting it out there. That's what I really want. Now, then as you kind of drop into that, like, is that accurate? I just want to check with you first. It's my intention. Does that feel true?
Sure. So with my intention, the big intention, like the big idea, is creating a community. And I've never done that before in the business world. So
Oh,
I would love to, and lean on nature was also one of my big takeaways because, and actually what inspired me is EPI has been a part of that. Our community here and office hours and festivals. Like I would love to do that for entrepreneurs. I've never done it, so I've been working on it for 2 months and it's gone really well. It's gone really well, but it's I'm excited to do it. So I commit to creating a community for entrepreneurs and to help them grow, and I commit to learning how to do that.
Great. How do you feel in your body right now?
Good. I noticed that my stomach feels tight, so I'm curious, but I think there's some fear because that require, it's kind of like when Heidi asked at the top of this meeting, she wanted to feel, I think it was her who wanted to feel fulfilled and nurtured. I really related to that. That was like right on it for me. So that was a good conversation. So how do I commit to creating a community when a community that's like other people need to be around? I can feel loved on my own because of everything I've learned in API, but how do I create like physical bodies in a environment?
So, right, that's exactly why we're having this meeting today, because I don't know how. Here's a concept. You don't get the how until you've made the commitment.
Okay.
So you made the commitment. I commit to creating a community. Cool. So then what's the how? Well, those things that come to you, come into your mind, come into your path. I actually let's see, when I came back from my second training, which was probably 1996, that was not a fly. That was like a long time ago. I came back with, let me see, I learned about intentions that during that training. So it's my intention to create conscious community was what I came back with. Now that to me was like, I didn't know how I was going to do that. That was so big. I had no idea. But then along the way, like that's what I've been doing ever since. So in all the ways, and how, I don't know how, but it certainly keeps happening. And I like that enabled me to take the undifferentiated entry, I can't say the word enough, undifferentiated energy and create an intention, the idea, the intention, and then the commitments were, am I really following through in a more physical, okay, today I'm going to do the things. I commit to taking the action steps to support the community, like all along the way. Mhm. So
Love it. I think that's great.
that's
It
the field we're
reminds me,
playing in. Is it's you don't have to be like now I have to make it happen and do 100
right?
posts and make sure I'm an influencer and blah blah blah. It's like, well, you could do that if that's entertaining and interesting for you, or you could just have some fun if that's what you want to do along the way. I want to have a great time while I meet all these conscious people. Yay! What a nice way to start the day and start the year, right? Who knows how it's going to show up, but you've shaped your reality in a direction where that's what's going to be coming forward for you.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great, Julie. And I mean, just look, we almost 30 people here on a New Year's Day, all co-creating, which I think is such a great
Right.
testament to what you've created. How do we do it on a personal level? One of the commitments I've made is minimizing my things. Since my home was destroyed by the hurricane, I had a great opportunity to let go of some physical items. How do I do that when my spouse does not have the same commitment? So like minimalism versus like accumulation. How do I do that and respect that person, but also respect that I want to live in a spacious environment and I want to have organized closets and such?
Well, what do you really want?
Spaciousness, simplicity.
Great. So I would put that out there. It's my intention to create spaciousness and simplicity and see what happens. To not be so concerned about, and you see, the mind does not wish the best for you. So that means our closets have to be all organized. Like, does it? I don't know what it means. It could mean that you just are staring out the window the whole time. You don't even look at your house because you're so entranced by, right? I don't know. So, but for you to be clear what it is you're wanting, and then just like I think Heidi, yay Heidi, at the beginning, like, oh, it turns out I'm getting it right now. Whoops. I want spaciousness. I remember creating that intention and I ended up with this huge office and I can't remember what the other, I was like this huge, it was crazy, right? We just don't know what it's gonna look like. That's part of the fun.
Right. So I'm hearing really in both your answers, the intention, the commitment is the first part, and the how, that's where nature and life we can lean on. So that's great.
That's right.
Thank you,
They're
Julie.
bringing
Happy
it
New
in.
Year.
There are partners. They're saying, okay, let me help you with that.
Great.
Heidi,
Thank you,
Heidi,
Julie.
you're welcome, Christopher. Heidi, I want to check back with you and see how you're doing now. And do you have a new commitment that you are thinking about?
I'm like having so many light bulb moments. I think, well, I don't know if it's a commitment, but I like this inner map that you were talking. I've never heard of this before,
Ah,
and like going through those emotions. Like I was like, oh my God, yeah. Like I started with shame and then I went into sadness. I'm like, this is actually happening. Like that's so. I guess I'd like to complete that process and um I don't know, like I get what's coming through for me is that so much of it is somatic and like feeling those feelings and then coming to the things. So um I'm not sure, like,
uh-huh.
do I know or do I have to go through the process to get to do you know what I mean?
I think you just got onto your own rocket ship. I can get out of your way and you're doing great. And there's support. So I'll talk about that in just a couple minutes, what else we have around. But way to go. Yeah, just you're doing it.
It's so cool. Also, I just want to say, like, I mean, I've heard of you before, and I'm, uh, yeah, like in Katie's like community, and but then I got Andrea Gibson's like newsletter yesterday, and then she linked you as her therapist, and I was like, you're her therapist, anyway. So then I was like, okay, but I'm not really aware of your work, and this has just been mind blowing and amazing, and like I have some background, but I think that I've also like, like haven't really gone into the pool. Like I haven't really allowed myself to actually go through the process. I think because being blocked with that whole thing. And so this has just been amazing to actually allow myself to move through it. So anyway, thank
Right.
you.
Bravo. Oh, way to go. Bravo. Ah. Well, so how about I know people have had to run, and so any other comments you want to put in the chat, and I'm gonna just show you the last slide because there's a couple of things. Oh God, where did it go? I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay. Um, oh, first we have to close the coning. So I'll show you how you do that. We set the intention. I would like to close this coning. Say to yourself or out loud. Whoops. Don't close it yet because we have to ask Pan for a little help. So you can say this out loud. Pan, please transfer into my body environment all needed balancers and stabilizers. Isn't that great? The idea is that nature is always right there, but the universe operates on free will, so we have to ask if we want help. So yes, please, Pan. And now I'd like to close this coning. I'd like to disconnect from the overlighting deva of healing. I'd like to disconnect from Pan. I'd like to disconnect from the family of the light. I'd like to disconnect from my higher self. So we opened it, we closed it, and look, I'm so pleased with myself because I stopped. I usually just go right to the end and I forget announcements. So here's some announcements. We just started the 90-day blame-free challenge. Yay! You can find it on Facebook and Instagram through Evolutionary Power Institute. You get a prompt every day, and then you can also, if you can find it on our website, it's over there. It's under tools. Laura's putting everything up once we've put it out into the world. So in other words, you can go back if you skip a day, because except I know you won't. Of course. 90 days. Sure, it's going to be fun. Yeah. What if you were free of blame? You don't have to put all of that energy. What a drain. Geez. You can use it into creating your new lives that you came out with today. I want to notice with you that Ethel Green is teaching this workshop, Evolving into the Fifth Dimension. Whoa. Yeah, I contacted her realizing that the inauguration's coming up and after the election and said, Ethel, She said, "Oh, I'm so happy." Like, oh, great. Okay, so then that's when we knew we needed a workshop. It's two different Sundays. I kept misspeaking that. It's two Sundays. And here, if you can get that URL off of this, I don't know if you can or you can't. Wait, can I do it? Oh, I'll get it into the chat. Nope. Oh, yes, I can. All right, I'll put it into the chat. So that's the registration. It's $150, but it is worth it. She's an amazing energy worker, and that's a lot of her time. Just to keep your attention on that, we've got this weekend coming up over Valentine's, the Rediscovering Essence. That's going to be really fun, I think. And then all these resources, you can go over to evolutionarypower.org and find those, including things that I didn't list, that we've got coaches, we've got interns, we've got students that are around that would, I think, really enjoy extra time, extra practice time with people, so that if you could email us. Okay, here's that URL first for Ethel's thing. And then if you email us at evolutionarypower5@gmail. You can get more information from me. I will connect you with coaches and extra support. We've got something called Living Above the Line, where for $20 a month you're subscribed, and then we've got live stuff every Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30 Mountain Time. Either I'm coaching people or we're just doing office hours and talking about stuff, as well as having access to all the videos and things that we've got going on. Any last questions, comments? Anything you want to tell us about? Thank you for those that stepped in, Heidi and Annie, and I'm looking at you. Let's see, and Stacy's gone, and Christopher. Everybody else, really appreciate that you were willing. That is so typical of folks in this. This community, meaning all of you, like you're now part of the EPI community. I just so appreciate your willingness to show us. It's we watch each other so carefully, and to see what is this possible? Is this true? Is this crazy? Am I just being dumb by even trying this? And so as you're willing to show us what's going on for you, there's so much courage in that, and it really matters. As you take anything out from here and talk about it, I know it's edgy, but just experiment, just play. This is about play. It's see what is true for you. I'm not trying to suggest that I know something beyond what you know. This is an offering, and maybe you'll let us know. Maybe this time next year, what helped you, what worked for you. All right. Well, I see fun hearts. Thanks, everybody, and until we meet again. Happy trails to you all. Blessings. Okay, bye.